The former head of MI6 has appeared on Sky News, link in the description, to denounce the behaviour of David Lammy, of Keir Starmer and of the British government by giving away the Chagos Islands and to effectively back Donald Trump's position, saying that he hopes Joe Biden will not take any action that will prevent Donald Trump from keeping the Chagos Islands. It's a complicated subject, but bear with me and I'll explain the story really, really simply, because it has major implications for British national security, American national security, and as I've said before, if we play this wrong, we could make a third world war much, much more likely. Hello everyone, this is Andre Walker. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please do subscribe and hit the bell notification icon. It's the best way to absolutely guarantee you get all my videos as soon as they are released. Let's return the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, says David Lammy, one of the stupidest men ever to have a great state office position in the United Kingdom. By the way, before we go any further, let me just tell you what David Lammy said when he was on Mastermind. He was asked the following question: who succeeded Henry VIII? Now, some of you might not know that it's King Edward. Some of you may go for Elizabeth I, but he went with Henry VII, who, I mean, even the stupidest person would know that Henry VIII's father was Henry VII or somebody before him was Henry VII. Complete and total moron. Now, that's something that we can have a bit of a laugh at, and we have. But let me tell you, it gets much more serious when we talk about the Chagos Islands. David Lammy has claimed that we need to return the Chagos Islands to Mauritius. Return it? What do you mean? An independent Mauritius has never ruled the Chagos Islands. Now, we're going to think about to ourselves, why are the Chagos Islands important? The Chagos Islands are important because if you want to sail oil from the Middle East to China, you have to go via the Chagos Islands. That's why Diego Garcia, the American military base, has been built there. That is a massive matter of national security. We've talked for ages about the way that the environmental lobby wants to move us from oil to batteries. Well, I'll tell you the reason for that. Very simple reason. China makes batteries, but it doesn't have oil. So if we stop using oil and buy batteries, it makes us reliant on China. But if there was a war in Taiwan, i.e. if President Xi of China attempts to invade Taiwan, then what will happen is this: the Americans won't fight for Taiwan. They'll cut off President Xi's oil supply at Diego Garcia. So now, let me explain to you why this issue of the Chagos Islands is so important. Lammy's a moron, and Starmer's probably somebody who is not supportive of this country and probably an enemy of the state. But they are giving this archipelago to Mauritius because Mauritius is a vassal state of China. Now enter Sir Richard Dearlove. He is the former head of MI6. I don't agree with everything he said, but he said that Donald Trump's suggestion that, and Rubio's suggestion, that they're going to move against this deal and oppose it and throw the deal in the bin is phenomenal. There is a new government, by the way, in Mauritius that potentially have been persuaded by the United States of America not to accept this deal. But what does this mean overall? Well, forget the fact that the Chagos Islands are 1,000 miles from Mauritius. Forget the fact that Mauritius has never ruled them. Forget the fact that Mauritius is a vassal state to China. Forget the fact that Biden only just accepts it because he's gaga ooh la la and Donald Trump is furious about it. Forget the fact that we are leasing Diego Garcia to the Americans for a major military base. And forget even that we are attempting to prevent a third world war. Forget all that. Lammy is literally taking action on behalf of the United Kingdom that is damaging to the United Kingdom, that goes against our national interests. Did you see that appalling speech at the UN where he attempted to link what Vladimir Putin was doing in Ukraine to slavery, transatlantic slavery, that his family suffered from? Look, there are many issues at stake with the war between Russia and Ukraine, but slavery is not one of them. It just isn't. There is no issue with slavery on either side. There is no issue with the subjugation of black people on either side. There is no issue with transatlantic trade with either of these things. And yet Lammy brought it up because Lammy is not a serious person. But as I said before in this video, I think Starmer is a serious person. He knows or ought to know that the loss of the Chagos Islands is a major disaster. Let me tell you this, and I've said this in previous videos, so apologies if you've heard it before. The reason why President Xi of China has 2.5 million Muslims in concentration camps is because they're Uyghurs from Uyghurstan. They are opposing an oil pipeline from the Middle East to China. That is the other way of getting oil to China. That oil will be used for the invasion of Taiwan. So as long as the Uyghurs prevent the pipeline, and they're doing reasonably well, and as long as we prevent the pipeline by Diego Garcia, China can't invade Taiwan and cannot create a third world war. Lammy's a moron. Why is it that Keir Starmer is allowing this? Is it possible that this highly educated, highly intelligent barrister doesn't know all this? Is it possible that he doesn't agree with Robert Buckland, the former Lord Chancellor? By the way, Robert Buckland's one of my favourite people. You should Google some of his videos on YouTube. He's a former Lord Chancellor, Conservative, and the reason I love him is because when victims of serious crime were angry about the sentences that their perpetrators were given, he used to personally appeal it by sticking his wig on and going to the court. He did about 45 of them. But I love him. But has Keir Starmer ignored the fact that this man has told the world that the case in the UN, the case in the International Court that Mauritius makes is not valid? That they never made a claim before they became a vassal state of China, that the Chagos Islands are as close to Mauritius as London is to Moscow. And yet they say that the islands should be returned to them. We have acted as a country against our own national interests. Now Donald Trump says it. The former Lord Chancellor says it, Robert Buckland. The head of MI6, former head of MI6 says it. And also Donald Trump and Rubio say it as well. Everybody is in agreement that this is a strategic mistake. Now, look, I admit the Americans are perhaps a bit stupid for not having these colonial outposts themselves and instead expecting the British to rule them. But that is the world that we live in. What sort of a prime minister, what sort of a foreign secretary deliberately diminish and undermine the United Kingdom's ability to defend itself and our ability to do a deal with the United States of America? Because remember one thing, we have bet the farm on the United States of America. And for all of you that like Joe Biden, for all of you that say Kamala Harris is marvellous, these people want to hedge the bets. The Republican Party, whether you like it or not, has been a solid supporter of the United Kingdom. And we have said in our most recent foreign policy analysis that we should rely on America being the strongest and most powerful country on earth and us being a supporter of that. Not an inferior country, not a second-rate country, but a country that is able to defend and support the world's most powerful superpower, but also to influence it and to live a life that we believe in. Because remember, America and Britain have similar views and outlooks on the world in terms of democracy, in terms of capitalism, and in terms of support for the Anglosphere. It's time that David Lammy got out the way. It's time that Keir Starmer apologised for this. We cannot allow Donald Trump to fail in terms of keeping the Chagos Islands. Thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, goodbye.